are 5 minutes ahead of time, but I thought it could be interesting to kick off and keep time just so that we might have a bit more time for questions in the aftermath. But I also just really wanted to kind of string on from the sessions this morning, because there's some really interesting provocations that have been raised, and I think David's illustration was really interesting, and I'd probably also add to that the PBC's relationship to the wider society and media, as that's an ongoing struggle as well. And I'm also thinking about how our role, and I think this will tie in really nicely with your presentation, Tony, but how our role will evolve in the next few years to really begin to look at this concept of social impact, which is by and large a quantum physics concept, and it doesn't really work well. It's not very commensurate with social sciences and the sort of non-linear ways that we talk about impact, and what is positive impact one day might become a negative impact over time. So these are some really interesting things to think about. But without further ado, I want to introduce Tony Eales. He's been working for 14 years as an anthropologist at Queensland South Native Title Services, where I got to meet you maybe 10 years ago or something. And for the past 2 years, he's served as the Assistant Director of the Indigenous Country and Governance Unit at AIATSIS. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. So, I don't know how many people have had dealings with the Indigenous Country and Governance Unit at AIATSIS. It used to be the Native Title Research Unit, which people might know it as better, and publishes the Native Title newsletter, amongst other things. Things got a little bit quiet around COVID and we lost a lot of staff, but we've been building up over the last 3 years or so to be much more, our unit's much more fully staffed. Felicity couldn't be here. She was going to present most of this, but she's gearing up for Summit in Darwin. It's at the end of, or start of next month. So she's been clearing lots of stuff that's going to get published for Summit. We've recently got John McKinley from NIAA in Canberra. He's come over and been a great asset. I'm one of the assistant directors. As they said, background in anthropology, and Claire has got a background in legal, and also came from QSNTS. We're starting to get a bit of a crew from Queensland South there. Caitlin Tracy also was at QSNTS for a little while, but she's come on as a project officer, and Lily Ray's been there for a long time, and then other like project officers that you may get to meet if you sort of have dealings with this or are coming to Summit. The NTRU, as it was established 30 years ago. We've been funded through NIAA Memorandum of Understanding, and we're just updating that. We'll probably get another memorandum for. But that's just, it got a little bit held up with the election and all that sort of thing. In the memorandum, we're here to anticipate, articulate and respond to the needs of the system. So early on, it was probably very much more focused on native title representative bodies, but more and more we are trying to address the needs of PBCs as things move over from sort of the claim phase to the PBC phase of native title. And that's reflected in our change from Native Title Research Unit to the Indigenous Country and Governance Unit. One of the main things we put on is workshops, and the biggest one is the legal workshop. It's been running since 2017, and it's growing every year. It's held usually in September. The last one was in Brisbane, and yeah, there was a number of presentations. 129 attendees at the last one. There was just over 100 the one before that. So it's just been getting bigger and bigger, and it's focuses on lawyers and legal people who are working for native title organisations. So you don't have the private lawyers coming in, and it's a good space for people to be able to discuss cases without anyone else looking in on it. The workshop had attendees from every representative body at the last one, which was great. And the case law panel was very well received. And the next workshop will be in Sydney, 2nd to the 4th of September. The program's still being developed, and we've had requests to include sessions on native title compensation, future acts, agreement making, ethics, case law updates and more. I don't know if the registration page has come out yet, but it asks for people to suggest topics that we can have things on, and if you want to present too. Other workshops, we had our first PBC support officers workshop last year. It was held in Cairns. That was very well received as well. People have been really asking for more support for people working in the native title organisations who are supporting PBCs. And these kind of workshops get people from different parts of the country to be able to all come together and talk about their issues in a space where they can network. And we're going to hold probably 2 more of these this year and sort of try and make it a bit more regionally focused so that we're not asking everybody in the nation to come to one spot at one time of year. It's like try and space it out so that more people can attend and from different areas. We had 70 at the last one. We're hoping to have more at the new ones. Topics, grant writing, facilitation skills, PBC capacity building, all these kind of things that are part of the job for PBC support officers, and that I think they feel kind of isolated within the organisation that they're working for, and really feel that need to build capacity and the skills that they need for supporting PBCs. And it's also open for PBC, like people working in PBCs, to come to these workshops as well. We also do a youth governance workshop at the summit usually. That's sort of grown from like a one-day event. I think it'll be 2 or 3 days at this summit. There's a youth stream at summit, and our particular event will be over 2 days of it, I think. Topics like empowering voices in the boardroom, succession planning, how do young people sort of get into positions where they're part of decision making, or learning how to become decision makers and governance in the future, training, those kind of things. And again, these things are like closed sessions, so they're safe spaces for people to talk about the issues that they're having with each other who are having the same sort of things. Also at Summit, we have a PBC NTRB sort of closed day where we go through a bunch of topics there, and it's just for PBCs and people working with PBCs in the NTRB SPs. The topics that are going to be at this summit, talking about the Future Acts reform, DeRose Hill, 20 years on. You can read this out as you can read this as much as I can read it out, but also, the summit program's there on the AIATSIS website, so take a look at that. I don't know if there are spaces left, but have a look. I know the summit over some of the recent years has kind of spread out the native title stuff, and people have sort of complained that it's a big outlay for not much return. So we're trying to make sure that there's a greater benefit for people in the native title sector to attend at least part of the summit where we're focusing on these issues within the sector. Projects that we're working on, this is one that's just come up recently. The Authorisation and Decision Making Guide written by Nick Duff. People have used that a lot throughout. It's a great reference, but 2017, things have moved on. We're looking into doing an updated edition, and one of the main things is a call out. We want to put together an advisory group of people who would want to use the guide on all the things to do with updating it. If you're interested in that, please contact Felicity, or you can contact straight through the Native Title Research Unit email address, and we'll pass it on to Felicity. That's like the shared inbox. So if you want to contact anyone in ICG, just that Native Title Research Unit at AIATSIS is the way to go. Other projects, we've recently published a Return of Native Title Materials Guide that was written with WIMAC, and that code just takes you to the publication site. But there's lots on the AIATSIS site in the publications that might be of interest to people. I know when I was working in the sector, I didn't realise how many resources were just sitting there on the AIATSIS website. In fact, that decision-making guide is also available for download, like the entire thing as a PDF on the AIATSIS site. There was starting in 2005, AIATSIS has been involved with trying to look at the management of information in native title, how people are storing it, looking after it, returning it, all these kind of things. In 2015, I think it was, there was a survey of all the native title rep bodies about how they were storing and managing the information in native title. We're hoping to put together a sort of follow-up phase 2 project where we'll do a follow-up survey and also try and produce a best practice guide for things like the management, storage of native title materials, and it'll sort of tie in with the return of native title materials stuff that we've been working on as well. And a similar project to do with land claims material. We'll be finishing up in the next few months and be published on the site. We're doing a report on that, plus a kind of, there's a guide for people who have like these old archives, and especially some of these people are getting on, and their families may have to deal with these archives and don't know what to do with it. So we're producing a guide for that, and some helpful tools like Excel tables to list materials, and it's been produced in collaboration with NLC and CLC, and they've been very helpful about that. And so that should be published fairly soon. And this is, I kind of monitor this part of our services. So if you're working on like a claim or any kind of proceeding, and there's stuff that you see in the collection at the AIATSIS collection, and you need to get access to it, rather than going through the usual collection process, just email the shared inbox there, the Native Title Research Unit inbox, because we sort of know, we've all worked in native title or with native title people. We know what kind of pressures you're under in court cases and things, and we will be able to facilitate access to that material in a way that might be better than just going through the normal system where they're more focused on like family history, that sort of people. A lot of people contact AIATSIS to find out more about, you know, their past and their culture and stuff, which is great, and the collection is really good at helping those people out. But when you're under court timeframes and these kind of pressures, it's good to contact us directly, and we will try and track down that material and help you out. I don't know, has anyone been using it lately? Because we've got a lot on at the moment. A lot of people are asking for things at the moment. So, and also you can organise visits to the collection if you're coming to Canberra, and we'll like book a room for you and try and get the material out ready for you when you come and those sort of things. There's a lot of permissions and things to do with material in the collection, a lot of deposited conditions, so we know our way through that kind of maze of things, and we'll assist you with that. And that's basically it. So it's just basically an ad for our unit there and for the workshops, and I've got some cards, but also hopefully people took pictures of the email addresses and the sites and get in contact with us. Yeah, I don't know.
Answer some questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
We've got plenty of time for questions,
Yeah,
which is...
I kind of ran through that.
Yeah. No, that's great. I did... Oh, yeah? Yeah. No, go ahead. Oh, yeah. Meredith will come over.
Thanks. Hello? On? Yeah, okay. Thanks, Tony. I was just wondering if you have how AIATSIS go around sort of figuring out what resources might be needed for the sector. Is there like a formal process to receive feedback or consults, or how do you sort of assess that?
Yeah, so as we have a Native Title Research Advisory Committee, there will be a kind of membership drive for that fairly soon, because we had a number of people on that, and for various reasons people have lapsed, and we're down to not many people there. So we usually try and make that up from people who are, you know, like not just in native title area but adjacent to it as well. I mean, you can contact us directly, but we do up a work plan, like a work plan budget every year, and also as part of the MOU. So we've got, like, we'll be doing a planning for like a 3-year plan, but we've been, because of the way things were, we've been doing like tidying up a lot of legacy ones that got kind of slowed down through COVID, and then, you know, life happens and they end up sort of down the thing. So we've been trying to get these older ones published as well. So, but yeah, certainly contact us through that shared inbox. You know, we're always happy to talk to people in the sector about their needs and size. But yeah, but also look out for, we'll probably be doing an expression of interest about the advisory council as well soon. Advisory committee, sorry. Yeah. Anyone else?
I had a question.
Yeah. We'll wait for it.
Thanks, Meredith. You're doing a wonderful job. So I'm just looking here at the description of your amazing session today, Tony, and talking about the development of technical skills in this emerging space. And I think we've had some really interesting presentations that, to me, are really getting at the heart of this whole concept of impact. Corey mentioned social impact before, earlier this morning, and I'm thinking, maybe because I'm deep in the literature around social impact at the moment, that not even the experts in this space really understand how to measure that in a qualitative way. Although I must say anthropologists aren't really in that space. So it seems to me to be a really important space for anthropologists to start to ascertain more technical skills in for this next sort of iteration of native title work.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if that's something AIATSIS has sort of turned their mind towards.
No, but we would be happy to. One thing is, you know, AIATSIS used to publish a lot more, and we're trying to ramp up that publication quite a bit. So there's on the site, you can, like what is it, Indigenous Press or whatever it is, on the AIATSIS site, you know, it calls for, if people want to publish research through us, we're more than happy to hear from you, and we can put something together. So we've been focusing on the upskilling in the PBC space through the workshops, and the legal space through the legal workshop that's been running. We did sort of dip our toes into the anthropology side, but look, people have got to, like, CNTA does such a good job, and there's so much, like, there's only so much funding and time for people around. So I mean, so we're going away from that, and our anthropological side has been looking at this management of information in native title. A lot of people really want to know about return of native title and how to look after it, especially some things like digital formats and tapes and stuff. There's a lot of problems about keeping that stuff forever, because it degrades way faster than you know, the older methods of paper and things like that. And AIATSIS and the collection there have a lot of the skills and the knowledge and background on maintaining digital information and especially to do with tape and videotape, which as of this year, I don't think anyone in the world is making anything new for magnetic tape. So everything that kind of exists is all that will ever exist. And that also includes kind of old floppy disks and things like that. So from 2025 on, all of these things that are on magnetic tape, videotape, floppy disks, going to die eventually. So it's all got to get digitised, and there is a project that AIATSIS is doing, but at the moment it's only for, like, you know, radio stations, like Indigenous radio stations around Australia, all their old tapes, and also television stations. But I think people in this sector have got to turn their mind to, you know, there's a lot of collections of recordings and things sitting in people's drawers that, you know, the clock is ticking now for getting that stuff preserved. Yeah.
You already started to touch on it a bit, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask if you could expand on what AIATSIS is planning for the phase 2 of the...
Yeah.
I don't know if I get the acronym right, but
Yeah,
managing
for the
title
management of
materials.
information, native title.
Yeah.
Like we were hoping to jump straight into it, but it looks like it's going to be like a full project mandate. So it's got to run through the CEO and things like that. But you know, the two main things that I'm going to do first is, once we get the project approval, is establish a working group and get that survey, the updated survey that will look at 10 years on and see what the state of play is at the moment. See what people, you know, all the organisations are holding in their archives, and what people are doing to look after that. And then from there, then we'll probably organise some sort of workshop that will look at producing a best practice guide for the different types of materials that people are holding. that's kind of the first stage. There is also been some interest from a PBC that is looking at they're not a PBC. They're starting their native title journey and how to look after this stuff from the start and what processes you should put in place as you go through. That's something that's kind of a different phase of the project, and we'll have to see if that happens. So, but those are the kind of dreams I have for this project right now. But I'm like establishing the working group will be great, but if anybody wants to talk about this stuff, I'm more than happy. Yeah, and all of our emails are just like first name dot last name at aiatsis.gov.au. So if you want to just email me and talk about this stuff, great.
Tony, I've got two questions.
Yep.
One of them follows on from what's just been asked, and I'm wondering, in fact, whether rather than surveying and best practice guide, whether there's actual practical help that can be given to organisations, given that this is often specialist and a funding issue. So that's one question. The other one is, would you tell us a little bit about AIATSIS's new service and resource centre in Alice Springs and how that might help people?
Yeah, that was all part of it as well. Okay, yes. So AIATSIS itself, like lots of places, there's different compartmentalisings. We're in the research and education group, the Native Title Research Unit. We don't have a lot to do with the collection, and we don't have a lot to do with the digitisation preservation area. And I want to kind of get together with those people, which is why we need to make it into a proper project mandate, so we can sort of start to draw on those other technical aspects in AIATSIS. The collection and the collection management skills that are there. And to that point, we've recently opened the office in Alice Springs. I don't think they've got a receptionist and a front-facing thing, but they are now, after it was more than a year, I think, waiting for approvals, but they are now allowed to have members of the public come to the office, so you can contact either us at Canberra or the office there if you're in Alice Springs, and people will be more than happy to talk and show around. But what they've done there, they've got the office space at the top, and downstairs they've basically replicated the digitisation stuff that they have in Canberra, just on a smaller scale down there, and they are looking to do the same thing that Canberra does, but because they're in Alice Springs, it's much closer to people, and we'll be running digitisation projects out there and have its own collection. So it's just an extension of what AIATSIS does already in Canberra. And yes, it took a very long, like they had the place done, and just the approvals for allowing the public in just took forever. And it kind of set everything sort of behind, but it is now definitely open, and I think they'd be more than happy to have talks with CLC, and if you want us to sort of mediate that, just, again, get in contact with us, and we can see what we can do about getting out there. But they are focusing on digitising materials from the local area at the moment. So. That might be all.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for listening.